Hi everyone, welcome back to our weekly paycheck budget with me, budgeting out the last paycheck of March 2022. We are pretty much coming to an end of the first quarter of the year. Time is just flying by. If you're new here, my name is Jackie and we are enjoying life's journey. I like to share our real household numbers with you. We are a family of 4 living on primarily one income. My husband works in construction, but they do get a lot of overtime. So I guess it could be equivalent to 1 full-time job and 1 part-time job if you want to look at it from an income point of view. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Every single Friday we're on here and I have my own budget template and we do a zero-based budget. So we're going to go through and take a look and make any changes to last week based on maybe some spending we didn't account for originally. And then we're going to make some changes to this week based on my husband's pay stub. And this is the very first pay stub from his new job. So there is some stuff going on that we needed to reach out to his HR to fix. So I'll talk about that in a minute. And then also on these videos, I like to share my viewers' comments from the week before. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. It really does, encourages me to continue to make these videos and to share our progress with you guys and to hopefully inspire you guys to get on a budget, get on a written plan as well. You can always share words of encouragement. You can share how your budget is different than my budget. And also you can ask me any questions, if you have any questions pertaining to different areas. Last week we had a good topic on taxes. Bring the questions, and then sometimes you actually help me out with some questions I need. So thank you guys so much. Again, we had 9 comments last week, so we will be addressing these as we go through the budget. So real quick before we jump on the Excel sheet, I'm going to start with Raising Rayburn's comment. She said, when you high-fived yourself, smiley face, you're awesome, way to save. So yeah, you have to give yourself a pat on the back. When you do a good job, you have to give yourself a high five. And in fact, even when I do my fly lady routines, if I, do the dishes or I make my bed, I take a minute to step back and admire it and give myself a little pat on the back. So yeah, definitely you guys high five yourself because we're all making progress. We're all in this together and that's what matters. So let's jump on the Excel sheet and see what's going on. So I budgeted out last week and I think the numbers stayed the same as far as the income goes, but what changed was the taxes. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. But my husband's new job, they are getting paid $30 an hour for his 40 hours a week, so that was $1,200. I make this black because this was the official number on the paycheck. And now we are closing out the month, so I'm actually going to make my actual number black as well. Yeah, he had 8 hours of overtime, so overtime is $45 an hour. So it was $360 of overtime. So I'm going to go ahead and make that black, and I'm going to close out the month as well. So if you can look from what we actually got versus what we originally budgeted, it's higher. So Ricky switched jobs in the middle of the month, so that definitely helped. And the Jets like to practice when I'm filming. Oh my gosh. Why? Anyways, myself, I actually brought over $115.05 from my self-employment. This is from YouTube income and delivering for DoorDash or Amazon Flex. Once I pay for my cell phone, my internet, my gas associated with delivering, and I put 20% into savings for taxes and just to have extra cushion and savings. Whatever's left over comes over to us. So I had $115 I was able to bring over, and I've already made that as an extra payment on the teardrop. I literally just made that payment right before filming this. So that's almost 1 full month of a payment on the teardrop. So another high five. Yeah. For our interest in our bank account, this actually takes effect. They usually happens on the 26th. So I'm going to leave this red for now because we don't really know. So when I start adding up what I do have in the bank, over here I balance my checkbook, if you will, and I have all my accounts that are either my bank, my investment accounts, wherever they might be. And I keep track of what's going on in that account. So I will actually just say I have $1.87 less in that account so that way when I'm on the bank later, I'm not accidentally saying, hey, where's this $1.87 at? You know what I mean? All right, so like I mentioned last week, we should be able to put a pretty big chunk into our emergency fund. So we're trying to rebuild our emergency fund. We want to have $3,600 by the end of April. So I currently have $213.21 in there. So I'm going to add $786.79. So that way it gives me an even $1,000. So we will have $1,000 officially in the emergency fund today. I'm actually filming this on Friday. So let me make this orange for now. It will go blue once I actually transfer it into the savings account. So let's come over and we're going to say now that I have that and I line it up with that item, so that way I already know that that money is assigned to a category, so I don't actually spend it on something else. So before we leave the saving investing part of the budget, let's jump on some more comments. So Lisa says, great weekly check-in, woohoo, great progress on the emergency fund. Yeah, so we're definitely making progress. I'm looking over here. I got some charts, my new debt tracker charts and my emergency fund tracker charts, and I get to color in a big part of that chart today. So I'll show you those in a minute. So I'm excited for that. Jillian says, it looks like you are making good progress on your emergency fund. Great news on Ricky's shorter commute with less traffic. That can make such a difference on how you feel when you get home. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, and also, I mean, now they're doing 10-hour days. So he's still gone from the house the same amount of time. But now instead of him spending that extra 2 hours driving, he's actually working and getting paid for it. So definitely we can see the shift in how everyone's feeling in the household for sure. Colors of Avon, Leslie, thanks for sharing the tax bracket info. This was great. I need to keep up with my deductions. Best wishes on saving that emergency fund. Yeah, so Leslie and I, we became friends. She's been a long time viewer, and she has officially become debt-free. So high five to you, Leslie. And she's been asking some really great questions now because she's on the next stage to start investing. So for those of you who watch my grocery haul videos, I mentioned on Wednesday, that's going to be the last grocery haul video. I've pretty much shared with you about 6 weeks worth of grocery hauls. I've shared with you my meal plan for the month. And so the plan is just to keep rotating through all those meals month after month. And so in place of those videos, I'm going to come up with a few different videos for you guys on different investings, and you know, what's the 401k, what's the Roth IRA, what's the benefit to both of them, why would you choose one or the other, and I'm also going to share some of the books, some of the resources with you that have educated me on what all this is, so you guys can pick it up for yourself. If you ever have a video topic, definitely let me know, because the goal is to post 3 videos a week. Obviously Fridays are the budget video, and then I have our monthly different check-ins, so like our monthly budget, our net worth check-in, our monthly garden check-in, and then our monthly fly lady habit. So those are kind of already set, but then we have another day of the week where I can rotate through some of the topics that you guys want to hear. So definitely let me know. But for April, we're going to talk a little bit more about investing. And as you guys have seen on the budget, we are still investing even though we're trying to pay off debt at the same time. Journeying through life, she answered one of my questions, so I'm going to come back to her comment when we get down there. Well-behaved wallet, welcome. This is the first time I'm seeing you in the comments, so I'm not sure if you watched the other videos, but thank you for taking the time to comment. She says, I'm 100% with you on the saving versus spending training. I am the same way, where it feels easier to spend than to save, but it's a muscle like anything else. Get stronger with practice. Hang in there, lady. Love these videos, and thanks for sharing. Yeah, so I mentioned last week that we're spenders, and it's really easy to spend and even to invest because we're still technically kind of spending that money. And so now we have to start learning how to save, and not save and then spend it, and then save and then spend it, right? So this next emergency fund is hopefully off limits forever. I don't know. But yeah. Just another blonde girl. Hey. Welcome. First time I'm seeing you in the comments as well. She said to touch on taxes on Paycheck. So we are going to talk about that again as well, a little bit further down the line. And then Annie for Horses, welcome back. She says, I love watching your weekly check-ins. It puts me in the right financial mindset for the weekend and helps keep me on track with my budget. So thank you guys so much for chiming in. We are going to get to 2 of the other comments a little bit later. So yeah, so we're going to have $1,000 in our emergency fund later today. I'm going to transfer that money over. We're not adding anything to giving. So here we are with the taxes. So these, I've already looked at my husband's pay stub, and this is what it was. So I estimated the federal tax because we are not investing in the 401k right now. And I mentioned this before. If you're investing in the 401k, it will lower your taxable income now. So you'll pay less taxes now. Because we're not investing, I estimated our taxes would be 3%. It ended up being 2.75%. So I'm going to go ahead and make this black because that's what it was. Now the Arizona state tax, this was higher, and this is where we actually had to reach out to Ricky's HR. So with the new company, they did not have us fill out an Arizona state tax form. So here in Arizona, we do have a state tax. So on the form, you can do as little as like 0.8%, and then 1.3%, 1.8%, 2.7%, and then I think there's 2 other ones that are higher. If you do not fill out this form, your employer automatically does the 2.7%, which is basically in the middle. And that's what happened. They did the 2.7%, but we used to do 1.8%, but we were always getting around $200 or $300 back. So this year I was like, well, I only want to do 1.3%. So this is what I wanted to talk about that I forgot to mention last week when I was talking about taxes. If you are getting a refund, if you are getting money back, you are overpaying in taxes. This is not a good thing. You do not want a big refund. You want to keep more of your paychecks now so you can use that money now to either save that emergency fund, put extra towards the debt, invest a little bit more. You want that money to work for you now. You don't want the government using that money. So that was one thing I forgot to mention last week. So yeah, if you're getting a refund, that's where you want to start changing your forms with your employer to try to adjust to that. So we reached out to Ricky's employer. We said, hey, how do we change the Arizona state tax because we want to be doing the 1.3%. So they emailed him the form to fill out. So I just got to fill out that form, and then hopefully the next few paychecks it will get adjusted. So this time we were only planning $20 worth of taxes, and it was 42. So this is another reason why you want to pay attention to what's coming out of your paychecks, you guys. All right, so that brings me to just another blonde girl. She talks about the state taxes. So very good topic. So last week when I was talking about all the tax stuff, I was just referring to federal taxes here in the United States. Obviously, if you're in another country, which we have viewers from other countries here, your taxes are going to be totally different. I have no clue how they work. You can share that in the comments if you want to share it. But every state also could have state taxes. There are a few states that don't have any state taxes. Florida and Nevada, I know for sure. I know there might be a few other ones, maybe Tennessee or something like that. But there's a few states that don't even have a state tax. But you'll notice some of the other stuff is different. For instance, when we went to Florida for our trip last year, there's a lot of those toll roads, right? So here in Arizona, when you're paying your state tax, part of that money goes to maintain our roads. Well, in Florida, the way they get money to maintain the roads is by having these tolls and people paying these fees, and that's part of, so it's kind of like you're paying a tax, but you're not paying a tax. So she brings up a good point. I don't know, she doesn't mention where she lives, but she says that her husband is in a similar field as Ricky, and they actually have an additional tax for being in a labor field. So yeah, Ricky doesn't have that. This is a really good tip for everybody here. Each person needs to look at the big picture of what is coming out. Yeah, you need to know like what is coming out of your paycheck. Are you getting a tax refund? Do you owe taxes? If you owe taxes, that's definitely not a good thing, because that means you're not you're not withholding, you're not having them take enough out either, right? So definitely, great tips there. The one last thing I forgot to mention, because the original question that got me on the topic of taxes was, this person made less than Ricky, so why were his taxes not more than this person's taxes? And I mentioned, we're married, we file together, so our tax brackets are a little different. We have 2 children, so we get a child tax credit. We were investing in the 401k, so that lowered our taxable income. And then the other thing I totally forgot, which is the biggest thing, is your deductions. So in the past, the standard deductions sometimes weren't very big, so people would do an itemized deduction. So they would write off the interest they were paying on their mortgage. They would write off their student loan interest. They would write off the taxes they paid on their car tags, things like that. Well, now the standard deductions have grown, so most people just take the standard deduction. And that is another benefit, because we are married, our standard deduction is a lot higher than someone who is single. So let's say, this person is single, they make $85,000, Ricky makes $85,000, but we're married. This person is getting taxed on more money and possibly getting taxed at a higher tax bracket than Ricky would be, because we are married and we get these added benefits. Now, if we were 2 incomes, then it would kind of even out a little bit, but we're mostly 1 income, so that's one thing that benefits us. But yeah, I totally forgot about just the standard deduction in general. But anyway, so Medicare and Social Security, I estimated what the actual rate is, the 1.45 and the 6.2, and those are spot on. So I can make those black now. So these came out of my husband's pay stub. I'm gonna make these black because that is done for the month. Now, we did not have deductions come out for health insurance. However, I did, we already filled out all of the health insurance information, so I don't know if that was sent to him early. He technically isn't supposed to have the health insurance. He's not eligible for health insurance till he's been there for a month, but they sent him an email saying to fill out the benefit thing, so we filled out the benefit thing. Everything was approved for the elections that we made. It's actually going to be less than I projected. If you guys watched on Monday, I did my yearly budget, and it was going to be about $105 versus $87 like a paycheck. However, we are officially nicotine free. Ricky stopped smoking, he stopped vaping, at the end of last year. So we're officially nicotine free, so it actually lowered our premium for the insurance. So we are actually, not only do we have health insurance, we're also going to have vision and dental, which we used to just pay cash for. So that's something that will be good. So that's going to be a change. But in April, I'm not sure. That might come out of that next paycheck. So I'll have to see what happens there. All right, so then moving on down here, home maintenance. Basically, I just wanted to make sure we had 1,000 in that savings. So that's why I put 786 in there and so I put this home maintenance 271.76. We have officially finished the garden enclosure. I made all my Mel's mix for all of my square foot gardens. We have our irrigation, our grids on there. We planted our plants. We planted some seeds. We have a few open spots that we can plant a little bit later in the season. So that is pretty much done. The next big project is to get the patio cover done. So we still have a few months. We're gonna have to add a little bit to that fund, but that should be done in the next 1 to 3 months. So we should be good for that. So now, if you notice on here, I'm going to add that 271. We have 400 in the account right now. I've been taking out cash trying to take it out every week, because we will be paying cash for the patio cover. It's like a local company here. So we're actually going to have 600, 71, and 76. This is the one where I'm going to take out that $87, just so I can account for what we actually have in the bank. Okay, so we're going to put that as 669.89. Okay. Now, if you notice, on the side of my budget for the other weeks, these were blue before. I had these in savings. This is the bill money, the mortgage payment, the electric, the truck, the teardrop, the insurance. This is all bill money that comes out of our accounts on the 1st. So I have transferred that money from savings. It's now in my necessities checking account. So you'll see those numbers listed here in my necessities checking account, and this is where it's automatically withdrawn from. Okay, so that's another topic I do want to touch on with you guys, is about how to make your finances as automated as possible. So we'll talk about that in another video. Moving on down. So I've already gone grocery shopping. Like I mentioned, I'm not going to be sharing the haul with you because we're going to try to touch on a few other things. Maybe I'll start sharing some meals. I know Raising Ray Barnes, you asked if Ricky would be willing to share his bacon egg fried rice recipe with you guys, so maybe I can get him on camera. We'll see. But we spent $100.30 on food, so woohoo, we're staying in our $100 budget. We spent $7 on personal care and $7 on household. So I actually ended up buying a preserving canning book. Last year, Ricky made a ton of salsa with our peppers, and we gave some away. So I told him this year I actually want to try to can some so we can still have it, because he was just kind of like freezing it and then giving it away. So we're gonna try a little bit of that later on. We'll see how that goes. Okay, coming on down. So for last week, so I updated the gas. So I budgeted about 100. We spent 95.81. This week I'm gonna do the 80, but I'll have to see how it actually ends up playing out. So if we don't end up doing 80, that money will come out of the home project money if it ends up going over 80. And actually, I forgot. Let's go back to our very last comment. This has to do with the long-term disability insurance here. So, okay, journeying through life. So she had mentioned the week before that I could get long-term, short-term disability. I could have that added on to my car insurance. And I had asked her, I said, would that only cover if your disability is because of a car accident, or would it cover you even with a work accident? And she said she's a nurse and the disability insurance is for any disability. So that is really good to know. I will probably, we have our insurance through Geico, so I'm sure they have a third party or someone that they do it through if they personally don't do it. So I'll take a look into that and see, because we won't have that insurance for this first year. And this one is really important, specifically not just because of like accidents around the house or car accidents, but because Ricky is in construction right now. He's like really high up in this building that they're in. There's no walls yet, so he has to actually wear like the harness and all of that. So we definitely want to make sure we're covered. We do have life insurance, we have health insurance, we have car insurance, we have homeowners insurance. So we definitely want to make sure we're adding the disability insurance. So thank you for answering that for me. And maybe next week you guys will see our increase. Well, maybe next week we'll have a little increase in our budget for disability insurance. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, so thank you guys for all of your comments, and let's come on down. All right, so like I mentioned, I already logged on and paid the extra $115.05 on the teardrop. So it's black because that's paid. The money I put in the necessities, I put it as orange because then my brain knows this is pending, like this money's coming out of that account, like it's coming out like in the next day. Now, the way you do extra debt payoffs, a lot of stuff is online now, right? So we have our regular monthly payment, our minimum payment set up as an automatic payment. So on the first of the month, that money comes out automatically. But when we are paying an extra payment, I'm able to log on and say make a payment, and I can click principal only, okay? And you want to make sure you click that, because if you don't click principal only, they're going to view it as an early payment, and they're just going to say, oh, well, you don't owe a payment next month, and they're still going to take part of that interest out of that payment. You don't want to do that. You want to get ahead. So you want to say a principal only payment. If this is in addition to your regular monthly payment, right? You say principal only, that means that comes off of the balance of the loan. None of that goes towards interest that you owe, okay? So that has officially been made. I am excited about that. Now we come down to our fun category. So these numbers a lot of times are adjusted as money is spent and as things are happening. We will have my laser money. This is actually due on the 5th of next month, so I was cutting it pretty close. I don't know why I cut it that close. So $48.89. We'll have that, and then we actually we still ate out this month. So I'm gonna be real with you guys. On the weekends when Ricky and I were working on the house projects, I had a few times where I was like, crap, I forgot to put the stew in the crock pot. I forgot to thaw the meat. Whatever it was. So it's like, let's just go grab some food. So, whatever. It is what it is. And then Ricky, we're doing $40. He actually already spent, because he bought some stuff on Amazon. He spent $29.03 already, but I want to also make sure he has the $11 for his NOS in case he runs out. He still has enough for almost the whole week, so I have a feeling he'll want to buy another case before next Friday. So I went ahead and made sure he'll have that money in there. So then on the side here, what I've done is I put on here how much the direct deposit is going to be. It's going to be that $1,355.54. And if I added that to the $400 I still had in that bank account, in that checking account, I should have the $1,755.54. So that matches up. So I've balanced my account, so I can change this. And then, like I said, tomorrow on the 26th, we'll have our interest in there, and that will just be applied towards the home project budget, whether it's $1.87 or $2. We'll have to see. I'm not expecting it to be that much. We have $2,700 in our necessities checking account because all the bills are getting ready to come out on the 1st. So I like to have the money in that account a week before it's going to be auto taken out. Some of the bills are charged onto our credit card. So our Netflix and our internet and our insurance and our cell phones, those are all charged to the Discover card. This way we can earn our cash back. And then every Friday I pay off what we owe on it. So we still have a truck loan debt, we still have a teardrop loan debt and a mortgage debt, but we have no credit card debt, okay? And we only have the one credit card, and the only reason we still use it is to get that cash back every month. So those get charged, and then once they are posted, I pay it. So as of right now, we have a balance of $538 on the credit card, and the majority of that is the house project stuff. So we'll be paying that off because we'll have the extra 200 and something from there. Like I mentioned, we have $213.21 in the emergency fund. We're going to add the $700, so we'll have $1,000 in there. Yeah, so that was really good. A good ending to the first quarter of the year. I want to show you this really quick. I'll probably show this stuff in more depth in our net worth debt payoff progress reports, but I'm going to show you a little thing I set up over here. Hopefully you guys can see it. So I printed this out, debt free, cut it out. I got these forms on, I think, debtfreecharts.com or something like that. They're free. So I got my debt-free land. So our total debt with our house, our truck, and our teardrop is $245,000. So as you can see, we're making some progress. We're working our way. And then we have the house payoff that we're working our way. And then we have our truck payment. We're working our way. And the teardrop. The goal is to have this teardrop paid off this year. So we'll see if that happens. And then lastly, the emergency fund. So right here, our first 25% is $900. So I get to color in all the way to that first flag today because we'll have $1,000 in the bank. Yeah, so I just have this out here. It's a visual to keep myself motivated, but also hopefully it will get Ricky motivated. Yeah, Ricky does not like to look at my budget forms. He doesn't like to look at my trackers. It overwhelms him. So I thought this would be a fun way to get him involved on the progress, on the tracking of the progress that isn't so overwhelming. That's still a little overwhelming though because there's 5 pieces of paper on the wall, but I think it'll be fun, especially if I have him like color it in. I don't know. He probably won't even care, but I think it's fun. My kids were like, oh, what's this? I'm like, this is my game. You got to make it fun. They're like, that's not fun, because I told them paying off debt. They're like, that's not a game. That's not fun. I said, yeah, you got to make it fun. You got to make it a game. So that's what I did. So, yeah, so I'll share those with you probably every month when we do our net worth progress report. We'll be coloring in some squares. Yeah, make that fun. Sorry, the Jets are crazy. I hate the Jets. But, yeah, so again, thank you guys so much for leaving a comment. If you leave a comment on today's video, I'll be sure to share it next week. And if you ever have any topic videos you want me to go over, it could be any type of topic really with managing the household, so feel free to leave that in the comments and I can, try to plan for that in the future. And also, if you're interested in purchasing my template, it is for sale on Etsy. The link is down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.